Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And today we are going to be talking about the trad wife phenomenon. We're going to be talking about Ballerina Farms and what else? And
we're going to be talking about Tia Leving, who is a woman who is a writer who has written about her experience being in a high control religious group or a cult, whatever you want to call it, kind of the same thing. She was actually featured in that movie documentary Shiny Happy People, which we covered. She was in a group that is basically it's the same group as the Duggars, same kind of philosophies.
Bill, I've forgotten his name already.
Bill Goddard.
Bill Goddard. That's right.
Yeah.
The umbrella.
Right.
And we see with some of these other trad wife Instagram accounts, they talk about the umbrella there too. I was like, oh, interesting. Yeah, I was watching and checking out some of these accounts. So we're just gonna, talk about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's just start with the definition. I mean, trad is short for traditional, so it's like traditional marriage. Basically hearkening back to a time we thought we had evolved out of. Where women, women wanted the right to be able to work and make money and fulfill their destiny and all of that kind of stuff. And we've been fighting for these rights, and now a lot of people just seem to be willing to give them up, but they don't know they're really giving them up. They think that they are, because men aren't helping. Like women have a million jobs and all this stuff to do, and men aren't helping, carrying their weight. And so a lot of men are saying, well, you don't have to work, just stay home and do this and that. And it's like, no. We're going backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not what we should be doing. And so, we'll be talking about this during the show on We Can Do Hard Things with Glennon Doyle. She had Tia Leving's, it was a 2-part interview with her on her show this past week. And Tia has written a book. It's called A Well-Trained Wife, My Escape from Christian Patriarchy. And so I just wanted to read a quick thing from her Instagram that kind of sums up what we're talking about here. She says, the trad wife movement isn't new. It's a patriarchal vision for women that's gained critical mass in the mainstream, and it puts women back in their lane. Neeleman, that's the woman, the Ballerina Farms woman, we will get to her, isn't on a magazine as a ballerina or as the entrepreneur that she is, but as a milkmaid mother who is careful to stay pretty while she labors so other young women can aspire to subservient roles too. To what end? Serving white male leadership. There's so much that comes along for this ride. What was life like in America when her daughters grew up knowing the best thing they could aspire to was a cow-milking, bread-baking mother of 8, who speaks like a sexy baby and is available to her husband at all times? Do we have any evidence of the outcome? What happened to her? What if she doesn't fit the mold? What if she wants more or other or even this? But at what cost? So it goes on. But yeah, she's a writer, and she has a lot of good stuff on her Instagram. If you want to check that out. But yeah, I feel like they're trying to trick women.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think that one thing that struck me was these are all relatively younger women. And I think that, it's interesting hearing about Ballerina Farms, and she's known Hannah. She's known at Ballerina Farms because she used to be a ballerina. And, I think that it sounds like she got married, 20? She never finished Juilliard. She was at Juilliard and she didn't finish. And I want to get into that part too. But I think the thing is that when people are that age, when you're, in college and post-college, those are hard, they're hard years because you're trying to figure out like who you are and what you want. And I hear this from my clients all the time, which is, I just want to find my path. Just want to find out what's my purpose? Like, who's my person and who's this and who's that? And there's all this anxiety around finding your path. And I think that for some people, this idea of, I think this is how women get tricked a bit, which is in many ways, it probably feels like, oh, I have a path now. Oh, okay. So this is my purpose, right? Like, this is my path. This is what I'm going to do. And, oh, he's going to take care of me. And, oh, okay. That is what my life is going to be. I think people are, when you're that age, you just want to, there's so much anxiety around what am I going to do? What am I going to do? That a lot of times people just pick things. Listen, sometimes people go to law school. Sometimes people marry somebody. Sometimes people move to France. Like, people do it in a lot of different ways. But I do wonder, especially Hannah was Mormon. Like, I do wonder if you're part of a community where pretty religious and traditional values or whatever that means. And, someone's coming along offering you some structure and some kind of sense of something. I can imagine it must feel like, okay, here I go.
It's like an answer. It's like,
yes,
here, do this. This will make you happy. Well, let's explain who Hannah Neeleman is, or Neeleman, who she is. If you don't know, she has a Instagram. It's called Ballerina Farms. Mm-hmm. And basically she's a social influencer. And she lives on a farm with her husband, and they are entrepreneurial. They have several income streams, from this farm, and obviously she's an influencer, so she's making money that way. But yeah, it's like she's literally in this like milkmaid dress where her boobs are pushed up, and she's got these children that are all dressed up in cute clothes and cowboy boots, and they're out on this farm, and she's milking a cow, and she's like beautiful, and she has this flowing blonde hair, and she looks just amazing and gorgeous, and her children are gorgeous, and she's inside making bread with them, and everyone's well behaved and quiet and gathered around mom, helping mom make bread. I mean, it's highly, highly manufactured, and so that's what we're referring to.
We talk about that.
Ballerina Farms and Hannah and her family, which, we can get into more details about them. But, they try to sell it is that this is empowering for women, but it's not. It's not empowering. It's empowering to the patriarchy.
Yeah, I was reading this thing. It's like trad wives isn't for women. It's for men who want submissive wives, basically, because it doesn't benefit women at all. It actually throws us back in time, and it is not a good plan. So as much as it feels like exactly what you said, you want some answers, and that's the problem. People, they're so anxious that they want answers so that they rush to pick something or do something. Because what really struck me was, I learned most about the Ballerina Farms from these like two New York Times articles that our Uncle Bill sent us. And one thing that struck me was that, she was a ballerina. She was a dancer. She was at Juilliard, which is not easy to get into.
Yeah.
Very prestigious. And basically, the way she meets her now husband, Daniel, is apparently he saw her, and he's from this very wealthy, prominent Mormon family. So his father,
they own JetBlue.
Yeah. So he's got the JetBlue money. Mm-hmm. So that's who his father is. And what's so interesting is they talk about their kind of like meet cute thing, which is he meets her and he likes her, but she kind of, I think, was like, yeah, I don't have time for this. Almost like, I don't want to date. I don't have time for this. So then he gets wind that she's flying back somewhere and he books a seat. And she thought it was a big coincidence that he happened to be sitting next to her. But no, it was planned.
Someone. Yeah.
It was planned and staged because, his dad owns JetBlue. So here's the thing. It's like, it just, that to me feels a little bit like it harkens back to the rom-coms of the early 2000s and how rom-coms have always been of like the romantic, the woman pushes the man away. And so the man then has to do so much stuff to like, prove to her that he is the one. But all the stuff that he's doing is all very weird and psychotic. And, and it's like, this is how they started their relationship. Mm-hmm. Is he tricked her.
He's manipulating her.
Yeah, he's tricked her. And then he says to her, this they blazed over real fast, which is, he said, I think she was like, okay, I'll get married. But like, she wanted to finish school, it sounded mm-hmm. like. And he's like, no, we have to do it now. We have to do it now. We have to do it now, right now, right now. And then so she drops out and a month later they're married and then they start having kids. It's like, what? That is another giant red flag. What do you mean you have to do it now? She's 19, 20 years old. Now you can't wait till. So that's another way. Now she doesn't have a college education. She doesn't have a college degree. So if she ever obviously she's an influencer and all that, but like if she wasn't who she was, that would have been a big problem. Her not having a college degree. Like, how is she going to make money if they ever get divorced?
Well, yeah, because this isn't going to last forever. Okay, this what she's got going now isn't going to last forever. So she gave up her hopes and dreams mm-hmm. from the time she was a little girl. If you're going to Juilliard as a ballerina, you've been dancing since you were 3. Mm-hmm. You have put in so many hours and blood sweat. That is your dream.
Yes.
And this idiot comes along and says, you got to just drop all. He doesn't care about her.
Yeah.
You have to drop all of this and come marry me. We have to do it now. And then he basically puts her to work.
Mm-hmm.
She becomes an influencer. She has like 9 million followers on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And he also wants to be an influencer, but he only has like 500,000 followers.
He's got, so what is this thing called? Like Hog Farm or?
He's got, they sell something. Meat.
Yeah.
That's kind of like his business where they sell these meat boxes. And in fact, their last baby, he wasn't at the birth because it was shipping day for the meat boxes. Mm-hmm. Hello?
Yeah. And so here's the thing, how people have been praising her is, look at her. Isn't she so, look at her. She's got all these kids and she makes all the food from scratch and it looks so effortless and all of these things. It's a little bit like, hold on a second, let's slow down a little bit here. They also tout that like we're self-made. Okay, you started those businesses, but I'm sorry, having JetBlue money to help you start the businesses and the two of you not having to actually have other jobs mm-hmm. while you start these businesses, you got to there's like no sense of the fact that we're very privileged and that we had the perfect setup for this. The other thing is a lot of people are mad about the pretty thin blonde privilege. And the other part of it too is she's a dancer. She has that kind of body. Like, mm-hmm. even if I was an amazing ballet dancer, I could never be one because I do not have the physique for it. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing is that of course she's bouncing back. She's got the genetics for it. She's a dancer. This is, of course she's bouncing back. Of course she is like building this and is driven because she's like all of those skills, all those things, they're innate to who she is. And that does not necessarily translate to everybody else.
But the
article
really doesn't. Yeah. And the article said that sometimes she becomes so ill from exhaustion that she can't get out of bed for a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then the way that she has been pushed, she was competing in these beauty pageants. She started competing in pageants in order to get scholarship money to go to Juilliard.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think she just kind of continued with it because she competed to be Mrs. Utah America in 2021. So she's already married. She's pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
but she wins. Then she becomes Mrs. American for the whole country in 2023. Then shortly thereafter, she competes in the Mrs. World competition. 12 days postpartum. I think she's probably still bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
She had no pain. She's never had an epidural or any medication.
No. She did with one of her kids. So the day that he couldn't be there, so she's delivered all the kids at home, I guess, except for 2, because one of them was overdue in 10 pounds, like Layla. And the one where he had to like get out the boxes, she says in that article, like, oh yeah, I did have an epidural and it was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the other part of it too, is she's constantly being touted as, oh, look at this mom, like enduring all of this pain, and isn't like same thing, that Puritan kind of like pain is good. And it's like, no. And guess what? She wants the epidural. It's got nothing to do with, whether or not she thinks like
no,
it's ridiculous.
She wasn't getting it before because her husband was there saying no.
Yeah. Basically,
the one time he's not there, she gets to get an epidural.
And she likes it. And she said it was so much better. Isn't it better? And that's the thing. It's like, but it's a secret. But like, she's telling all of us aside that. So, and I'm sure Daniel's like, oh, kind of spanking her a little bit for it. But, oh, you can't get away with that again. That kind of BS.
Yeah. He scares me. Yeah. And again, it's like she's still doing everything. He's not helping with any of this stuff. And she's part of the business too. Like they sell, and she's the complete advertising for the business.
She's the face.
Yeah.
She's the one posting everything.
They sell meat, sourdough starters, rock salt, measuring cups, and candles. So yeah, I just feel so sorry for her. I just feel like she's being used. And, gave up her dreams, been sold a bill of goods. He was older than her. I don't know what her background is with like,
I think she's family. LDS, and she's from Utah, and apparently, but he's from Connecticut, but they're settled in Utah.
Yeah. But he's Mormon.
No, they're both Mormon.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing too, is she's the face of the business. She's the one cooking all these meals, all the childcare, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm sure working a farm is, I'm sure he does a lot of stuff. I'm sure he does. But that's the thing is that we are not looking at him at this standard. We are not looking at him going, well, you need to remain thin, or you need to endure pain, or you need to do this or that. It's like, she has to be all of these things to, she has to be perfect in all of these ways all the time. And that's the standard. And so, one of the things that we learned from the Glennon Doyle We Can Do Hard Things interview with Tia Leving is she talks about this. She talks about how, she said that for herself, she could never get small enough. She could never reach whatever it is, all of these lists of things all these things that she's supposed to be doing all the time, all the ways that she could be the perfect woman, perfect wife, perfect mother. They were constantly like raising the bar or like pushing it just out. So to the point where she just realized like, I'm never gonna reach that. It's never gonna happen. And what that does, like the core of it is that we all, like everyone's core wound is, am I good enough? Am I enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I this enough? Am I smart enough? Am I special enough? Am I all of these things enough to be loved and to be seen? So what they've done is they've basically like drilled down into what makes us human beings and that desire, and basically said, you're never going to feel good, because true, healthy, having a good sense of self, having good self-esteem is really about, recognizing I am enough. I am enough, and I'm not going to try to, I'm fine just the way I am. But that's the part that is so painful and difficult to watch, is just how they really kind of get in there and make you feel like, yeah, you're never enough.
Well, and it's not just in these religious groups. It's in our culture, like Glennon was talking about, the wellness culture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They say wellness, but basically it's like, they're making people, mostly women, feel badly if they're not going to yoga all the time. They're not eating right. They're not doing this. They're not doing this for their family, for their kids. Just like again, you can never achieve.
Yeah, your 5-part, your 10-part skincare regime.
Right. You can't. It's like Mary's List. You'll never. It'll never get done. It'll never be. Yeah. And that's what keeps women not only small, but keeps them from rising up. Keeps them from doing anything. You know what I mean?
Worthying up.
From worthying up.
Yeah.
Rising up. Whatever keeps them from talking to other women about, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah, you're too damn busy making sourdough starter.
Right. So they want to keep women quiet and separate and busy. Okay.
Yes.
And they tell them, you know what? It's the work world, childcare, all that kind of stuff. It's too stressful. It's too much. Just go back to these traditional roles. It's so much easier. And like you were saying, it's like, would anyone say that it would be so much easier to go back and be a 50s housewife where you couldn't even get a credit card or a bank account or a loan in your name?
And even everything that's going on in our world right now politically, it's still better now. This is the thing.
Yes.
It wasn't better in the 50s. It wasn't better in the 50s. I have all these stats. In the 50s, let's see, hold on. In 1918 in Greenville, South Carolina, they passed a law that forced Black women to be employed outside of the home and carry a labor ID card. So one of the big falsehoods of all of this is, well, back in the 50s, women didn't work at all. The only women that worked were like waiting to get married, but it's like, no, a lot of women worked. Women of color worked. And white women worked, not at the same rate. But the thing is that, what is it? What was the other thing that I found here too, which is going back to the 50s, it wasn't a good time. It was, what it was a good time for? White men. It was a good time for them, but it wasn't a good time for anybody else. And one of the things I was reading is they talk about the kinds of men who self-select into these kinds of communities. Because many times we see with some of these people, you're born into it. It's your family, it's your parents, you're part of it. But there are lots of people that kind of wander into these communities. And they talk about the men who self-select to be in these communities. They tend to be wayward, antisocial, disagreeable, and very misogynistic.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And so you really have to think about who's making up these groups of people, and I think a lot of these are wayward men who are like, I don't like my wife talking back to me, or God damn it, she could actually leave me if I was an asshole to her. Okay, let's all get together and never have that happen again.
One of the things Tia said was that, that profile of that kind of man that's attracted to this is the type of man who does not want another man telling him what to do. So these men get into these church organizations, and the minute like someone higher up than them tries to tell them what to do, they're like, oh, forget you. And then they go off and they make their own church. And so that's why there's all these splinter churches. So like the Quiverful branch, the fundamentalist Christian, that's what the Duggars are. But like Tia, I don't think they were in the exact same one. Maybe they were, but there were a bunch of them. They're all the same.
Yeah.
It's like led by different people. They all have the same, because she talked about that blanket training.
Yeah.
Which was
that Quiverful. Yeah.
Quiverful.
That's the shiny happy people thing.
Yeah. Where you're taught to make kids behave. You put, when your child is old enough to start crawling, I guess, you put them on a blanket And then you get a switch. And then anytime they try to crawl off the blanket, you hit them with the switch and then you treat. Then they try again, you hit them, and you basically keep hitting them until they don't dare try to crawl off the blanket.
Yeah.
And then for the rest of their lives, they know that they cannot fall out of line or misbehave or they'll be hit.
And so the idea, what they tell the parents is, well, do this now, and that this will ensure that your child will never be in danger or never come out of line and, be one of those rebellious teenagers. And, and yeah, you're right. One of two things happens. You beat someone into submission to the point where they're not even there anymore. They're so beaten down, or you make them so, on that edge where the minute they can get away, they're going to get away.
Yeah. And they make in these groups, there's all this pressure for women to get married super young, start having babies and as many babies as you can right away for many different reasons. But one of which is white supremacy, because these churches are worried about their numbers, So they want all these white people to be procreating, having a ton of children. They also want, if you're busy having children, nursing children, taking care of children all the time, again, what else you don't have time to do anything else. You don't have time to speak up. You don't have time to talk to other women. In fact, they don't want women talking to each other. They don't want them sharing anything about how they feel. They keep them separate. You're not supposed to talk about this stuff. So they shame you and say, if you talk to someone about this, you're going to look like, you're incompetent. You can't handle it. So you don't talk to each other. I mean, it's just very, just so ingrained in these girls from the time that they're teenagers.
Well, the other thing too is, as a female, it just feels like the only way, if you have some awful family, some father, or especially if you're being abused, which we know there's a lot of rampant abuse in these communities, the idea of getting out, like, okay, let me get married right away, right? Like, let me just get out of here. And that's what's so hard and so frustrating for the women is that it's almost like they never even have a moment to have agency at all. And I think this is why that Daniel guy was saying to Hannah, like, no, we need to go. You're in New York City. Hold on a second. Like, I have to pull you away and take you away right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Before you get any ideas of your own.
The other thing too about this whole quote unquote, like trad wife or whatever it is, it's just this whole idea of, well, this is better. And it's like, no. Why do men get to decide how they're going to live their lives and that women don't? And one of the things is, if you want to be at home and if you want to have a bunch of kids and be at home and make your own mustard and, do the sourdough and all that stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. This is the thing, is they kind of almost, some of the trad wife, the sort of propaganda behind it is really about this, like, painting feminists as haters, right? That feminists, that they're really haters and that they're resisting true nature. And it's like, no, true nature is being able to pick out and figure out what you want to do. That's the thing. Listen, this Hannah, she may really love making turmeric and, all this other stuff. She may love this. Like, this may be very satisfying for her. She may enjoy making fresh things. That's fine. No one's criticizing that. It's just the fact that it's this idea or expectation that this is what all women should be doing.
Well, yeah,
there's only one way.
Yeah, the key word is agency. If you truly have agency, meaning you have control over your own life and your decisions, and this is what you choose, good for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, but what we're talking about here is where you really don't have agency, because when you're 20 years old and, you've got some guy saying, quit Juilliard and come marry me, you don't really have a lot of agency at that age. You don't have life experience. And so that feels like it's more being forced upon you. And that's kind of a gray area with them. And it's certainly not a gray area. There is no agency where you take young girls who have been, indoctrinated in these churches their whole lives, and then tell them, at 18 or younger, you need to get married and start having babies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's, and then trapping them in these religions and these cults that, where they're abused and where they're, it's like church sanctioned domestic abuse. Like this, this group that Tia was in, you could spank your wife, you can spank your kids, you can spank your wife. And she was spanked by her husband.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just humiliating. And so that's not agency. She never had a choice.
Yeah.
Never had a choice. If some woman who is tired of being a corporate lawyer wants to move on to a ranch in Montana and make butter or whatever, and that's her choice, good for her. But that's not what we're talking about here.
Well, the other part of it too is just not having this idea of that you get to have one role for the rest of your life. I mean, listen, there was a time in my life where I actually was a stay-at-home mom, because I was at home with my son the first year. And so, that during that time, that was my role. And there've been other times where, there was a time where Steve took off work because Max was struggling. He was a stay-at-home dad during that time, because Max needed the attention. So there's lots of, that's the thing. It's like this whole idea of there being just one way, or pitting us, this whole like painting feminists, like basically saying, to these, these feminists, they're trying to destroy everything. They're trying to, do this and do that. It's like, no, it's just that why can't we choose what we want to do? And also, why can't we evolve? And sometimes it makes sense for us to be home with our children, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And why is that such a hard concept for people to get? It's just beyond me. The other thing too is, this is the thing is that all of these women that we're talking about, they're all working. They are actually, I think you said this earlier, they all have jobs. Content creation is a job. You have a job that you're getting paid for outside money. So you're kind of not even, I think that what these Instagram influencers, what they're really selling is the ability to make money doing this thing, like living this quote unquote traditional life. But I also wonder how traditional is it? Do we even really know?
Do we know that maybe after she shoots, her footage of making sourdough bread, maybe they all go to McDonald's?
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah. I mean, this could be totally fake.
To be the biggest scam known to man.
We don't know what's happening, but
I was reading this one article and they were talking about how there are some trad wives out there that are pitching a class on how to be a trad wife for like $6,000.
$6,000?
Yeah.
I could teach that class in a couple hours, Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is a lot of these women, these are millennial women. And I do think that this is one thing, because I talk about the generations a lot. Millennials were the first generation where they started the workforce when we had phones and the ability to get a hold of people all the time. So very early on, they never really learned balance. They never learned boundaries. They just weren't given that because there was no balance. There was no boundaries. And what I saw is a lot of my clients working nonstop, constantly like draining themselves, trying to be trying to do these things. And during that time too, millennials are the most educated of all the generations. And actually during that time, women were outpacing men, very much so. More women are graduating from college. More women are getting educated. So I think it's very interesting that these women are of this age where they were all in this place of, work is really hard. It has become really challenging and really difficult for everyone involved because of technology. Technology has not helped us as much as we think. And on top of that, the culture of the world was seeing that women were outpacing men. And it was almost kind of like this convergence of, oh, okay, this is how we hold them back. They seem tired. So instead of helping them learn boundaries, instead of letting them do that and try to figure some things out, just put you on my farm.
Quit your job and move to a farm.
Yeah.
That's. I know, and it's dangerous too because there are There are states who are trying to get rid of stuff like no fault divorce.
Mm-hmm.
That are trying to. Well, we all know about what's happening with abortion.
Mm-hmm.
We have that, but it doesn't just stop there. They are trying to take our rights, a lot of rights, away.
Mm-hmm.
Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
You know, this stuff all kind of bleeds into each other, and it's dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
I mean, how many years ago were women able to get a credit card?
It was like 1972,
73.
Yeah.
You know that this might seem like a weird stat, but I just saw it. It was like marital rape was outlawed in 1993. I was in college then. And that wow. At the time, psychiatrists believed that women provoked their husbands into abuse. There was like a belief that, you know, she was getting too lippy, too mouthy, and that we're the ones that, you know, we're the ones that deserve, you know, because we're pushing our husband by saying, hey, can you pick up the kids? Can you help me? But I think that, you know, it's interesting too. I was reading these other articles about the trad wife Instagram and TikTok phenomena, that another piece of it is a lot of times what they're posting a lot of stuff that they know is going to kind of poke at people so that they get more engagement and more followers. So some of these women, they're making their material more provocative in order to attract more viewers. Right? Because if there's this dissonance, if people are arguing and fighting, there's more engagement to it too, which is, I mean, I was just reading this article. I don't know particularly who is doing this and who's not doing this, but it is another interesting part of this of you're not even being authentic. Right. You're not even like, you're now this is all marketing for you.
Yeah. You're just playing the game, and like all influencers do this, I think, to a certain degree. Yeah. What matters is your followers and your engagement, because that translates into how much you're going to get paid for the advertising.
Yeah.
So it's in your best interest to stoke this stuff and to have controversy. So yeah, you're not even pure in what you claim to be selling.
Pure in. Yeah. Well, there was a study from, I guess, Media Matters. And what they found was that the people that are watching the trad wife material, what was happening is those people tended to be right-leaning men. And that the more someone watches trad wife content, the more extremist right-wing media people are going to show up, like Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes. So that's the other thing. I think there's this belief that it's only women that are watching trad wives and going, ooh, isn't this great? And maybe some women are. But it's a lot of men who are like, I think this is like porn for them or their fantasy.
Really?
There's one woman who was mentioned in a couple of these articles. I think her name is SD. Let me look it up again. And she looks like a 50s blonde bombshell, like straight out of the 50s blonde bombshell, very pretty. And she's all about, she's all about her SDC Williams. She doesn't have as many followers. She has like 120,000 followers, but she's this very pretty young blonde woman who basically, here, hold on. Can you see this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just her.
Yeah. And she looks like, that's like a 50s style dress.
Whoops, sorry. Hold on. Here she is in another dress.
Ooh, oh my.
And then here she is. And then she has these, here's the very 50s dress. Hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, how 50s is that? Whoops,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's Betty Draper.
Yeah, it's very Betty Draper. And then she talks about, she'll be like, why is trad wife content blowing up suddenly? And she'll like give these explanations, and they're just very political and very just, I don't know.
Well, this is interesting. I just thought about this. So, Donald Trump Jr., apparently he and Kimberly Guilfoyle are dunzo.
Yeah, I saw that.
They've broken up.
Page 6.
Yeah, they said one of the reasons was that, I don't even know if this is true, but this is what they're saying, is that he never liked the way that she dressed, because she dressed too provocative, not provocative, that's not the right word. She always wore these very dramatic, bold dresses, like all bright red and, just she, I mean, almost like she's like Alexis Carrington or something. I don't, and apparently he didn't like that. And he didn't, and I think Trump didn't like it. Like he probably made comments about it, about her look. And he had tried to get her to tone it down, and she wouldn't. And so now he's dating this woman who's like a socialite.
Sorry.
And they showed a picture of her. She said, I don't know, some socialite who lives in the Hamptons or something. I don't know, forget her name. But his new girlfriend, she looks very almost trad wifey. She's got the flowery, flowy dress. She's very natural looking, natural blonde hair, and just looks very fresh. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And they're saying that he thought that she would be more pleasing to his father.
Oh God.
The way she looked and her values or whatever. So I don't know.
Those poor children are just really trying to please him.
I think there's a grain of truth in there somewhere. There has to be, because that's a very, I feel like this is a very much a part of the conservative, that winging of the parties.
Yeah. Oh
MO,
God. So keep looking at this woman, Esty. She's got this video of her where she says the first line is all about how like women, I don't need a man. I can do everything myself. So this is one of her things, which is that's a negative. Being able to say, I don't need a man. And her big thing is, well, we need each other. Men and women need each other. Which Disney princess is your favorite? I always loved Cinderella.
What?
I mean, yeah, it's bizarre. So it's her. She does a lot of these videos like the mom talkers do, where they're like talking, doing the lyrics of a song, lip syncing a song. And then she's showing a bunch of videos of animated characters. These people are not real. SD, do you not know this? Like, what? This is, we're supposed to be emulating these people?
Like, what are you, 7? I mean, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is this other woman, Nara Smith. So she looks kind of like a model, but she's, I believe, she's not, I don't know what her ethnicity is, but you have got to go and watch this woman do her thing, because she's always making stuff. Oh, here she is. Hold on.
Okay, this isn't very good for a podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You just keep showing me pictures and videos of Instagram accounts. This is a podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've lost. I'm sorry. But this Nara Smith, so she's very pretty. I think she's black. I don't know. Very pretty, tall, but she always wears these outfits in this like clean kitchen where nothing's out there. And you watch her doing, and she has a voice like this. Okay, this is one of my favorite late night treats. It's strawberry jello with cream on top. I mean, she talks like this. Like, okay.
And that's all she does, are these little cooking segments?
That's mainly what I saw. And she has a husband, and he's in there. I mean, they're very attractive people. I mean, the husband's cute. She's really beautiful. But just the way in which she speaks it's muted. It's just, and you're kind of like, how did you become an influencer? Like, I can see how the Ballerina Farms woman did, but this one, I'm just like, what is this? What am I watching? Nara Smith. Check it out, people. It is really, really shocking. And that's the thing. Who is this content for? Because I think a lot of women aren't, I think some are, but I think a lot of women aren't really watching this.
I hope not. This is not good for women. And
no.
I just saw something in my notes here about the Neeleman family that, the husband, he is against birth control. He says it's a matter of prayer. And every single one of her children has been born exactly 9 months apart.
Interesting.
I mean, how long is this going to go on? You're going to kill
until she can't have babies. Just like the Duggar lady, Michelle Duggar.
Yeah, till you almost bleed to death, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very scared for these. Yeah. These women, it's very scary.
But it's back to the same stuff like the Real Lives of Mormon Wives, right? We're back to this, it's such hypocrisy. She is not having her babies naturally because she believes that is the best thing for her children or for body, for herself. That's a decision that you're making. No, you're having these children naturally because you were told that. And the moment you could get drugs and no one knows it, that they're there. It's the same thing with those Mormon wives. It was like, we don't put anything terrible in our body, but we're going to go get a bunch of Botox injections.
Yeah.
It's this hypocrisy of sodas,
a soda with 2,000 calories in it with all the extra
chemicals
stuff. Yeah. I mean, that show is interesting because at first, they try to sell themselves as, being, empowered, their dance videos, which I don't really find their dance videos empowering, but they seem to. And, they brag about how, well, first of all, every single one of them is supporting their family.
Yeah.
They're the breadwinners of the family, every single one of them. Okay. So they talk about that, they're proud of that, but yet how is that any different than a woman going out and working and then just turning all her money over to her husband? I don't care what you call it or how you dress it up or whatever. Why are you the main support person in your family? Why do you have to do these dumb TikToks and take time away from your kids and whatever? And we've seen especially that Jen Affleck and what's the other guy? I forget her husband's name.
Oh, but God, what was his name? He was the worst.
He was the worst. I mean, he's very controlling. I mean, not all of not all the husbands are that bad, but those two are really an example of this is just another way to dress up this whole trad wife thing and make it look normal, because this is the guy who I don't know, took him 8 years to graduate from college and now he's trying to go to medical school. And he has a gambling problem and he blew all the money that his family gave him. I mean, this guy is a loser.
Yeah. Well, and also she didn't want to go to New York. See, this is another example of, obviously people, I've worked with clients like this. I'm sure, people when you're a doctor, you do have to go wherever you can get, your residency and all that kind of stuff. So I understand this sort of idea of moving to New York, but that she had no part of that decision. He did not sit down with her and say, okay, these are all my options. Which one should we apply to? I think he's the one that said, I am, that's it. We're going to New York, and that's just how it is.
Well, how are they going to make money? She's going to come back. She has to come back to Utah.
Zach. His name's Zach. Sorry, I had to look that up. It was driving me crazy.
Who, by the way, is not related to Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
That's been disproven. But anyway, she's going to have to, the whole family, because it's all about the whole family. They're going to have to go back to Utah to film season 2, which is filming right now. And that's their sole source of income.
Yeah.
So what? Okay,
I saw videos of them in New York. So she's got him doing stuff in New York.
Both places.
Both places. She has to. I mean, so that's the other part of it too. It's like, well, you're not even really a quote unquote traditional wife if you're the breadwinner. Like,
right.
Well, this makes zero sense at all.
The same with Ballerina Farms. She's clearly the breadwinner. I know he has family money, but no one would be buying his meat, his meat boxes if it wasn't for her.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, they quote unquote started all of these businesses, and it's like, yeah, if this was a traditional marriage, she would have no part in these businesses at all, and she would be doing, she would never have a part of it, and you wouldn't be well known. Do you know what I mean? Because you wouldn't be this influencer, but you're making all this money and you have all this fame and attention because of her and because of the influence. It's like, you can't have it every way.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the Mormon wives, Whitney, the one who is trying to cosplay as a trad wife.
Yes.
Little House on the Prairie cosplay. I don't know what she's doing because she's wearing the prairie dresses. They're renting some space on a farm so they can homestead or raise chickens.
Oh, God.
Like, she's trying to do this stuff, but doesn't quite have it all together. And again, she makes money by being an influencer, and selling dildos or whatever they're doing.
Dildos and farm life.
Yeah. And her husband, I don't know.
No, that guy, he's another one.
He's very confused.
He is so confused because he looked like a different person every episode. He was some new persona of whatever.
Yeah, and there's some cheating going on, maybe some sexuality issues going on. I don't know what's going on with him. But she's supporting him too,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so confusing.
And here's the thing. There are a lot of marriages where, it has more of that traditional, the man goes to work every day and the woman is home taking care of the children. Okay. But what's happening with these women is, it doesn't sound like they are, do they have access to bank accounts? Do you get to have an opinion of where your money is spent and how it's spent? Because this is the other part of it, is this part of this traditional trad wife life is about ceding control of your financial life. And here's the thing, you know what? If you don't work outside the home, you have significantly less access to Social Security.
Yeah. You have none.
This is a big thing because and so if you aren't earning money, then you need to get, you need to get you need to get a will, you need to get a prenup, you need to financially protect yourself because you are making money for this family. Like, you are contributing to it. But that's the thing is that if you have no financial control, just being married isn't a financial plan. Trad wives, they are working, but they're not able to be in control. And feminism is responsible for protecting women and marriage. And this was another stat that I saw, which is depression and alcoholism was at its all-time high in the 1950s.
Yeah.
And that, we all know the stats with divorced women and divorced men. When a woman gets divorced, her income falls about 41%. When a man gets divorced, it's 23%.
Yeah.
You gotta protect yourself. And so that's the thing. You can have a very quote unquote, I don't want to keep saying traditional. I don't know what another name for it is, but you can have your marriage be whatever you want it to be. You just, and it's fine if one person wants to work, you just have to have ownership over the money too.
Well, and here's the thing. The answer to women's problems is not to just drop out of the workforce and give up. The thing is, women want to work. Most women want to do some type of work. Work is much easier than staying home with kids.
Oh God, yeah. I'd work much more than staying home with a kid.
More mentally stimulating. I mean, we all love our children, but it's very, very hard. Women want to work. They also want to spend time with their children. They want to be able to go to their kids' play and pick them up from school. So they need work-life balance. They need childcare. We need policies put in place where women have affordable childcare, for access with the flexible work, all this kind of stuff, so that women and children and men can all live their best lives. But nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to spend any money on it. No one wants to seriously try. I mean, Biden tried to, with the childcare thing, he tried a lot of stuff, and he was just shut down, even by people in his own party. He had big plans. He had all these big agendas, and he was barely able to just squeak through a few things. I don't want to say a few things. He got a lot of things through, but we still have not solved these larger systemic issues that are contributing to why women are so tempted to just give it all up and go milk a cow and make bread on a farm. Yeah. That's bad. That means you're at your breaking point.
Yeah.
Your life is so stressful that you think this is the only way I can get any kind of like rest or peace. But it turns out, no, not on the farm either. Because there you will also be doing all the work as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and can't win.
And honestly, so much of this goes back to exactly what you're saying, which is there needs to be affordable childcare. There needs to be free there needs to be more help for not only women, but for men as well. And that's the thing is that, I don't know. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm just so fired up about this. And 2 minutes later, I'll remember what my thought is. I'm sorry. About these trad wives.
Yeah. Well, I hope this is just a passing trend. Really,
I don't know. This is what I wanted to say. Hold on, okay. I have it back now.
Okay.
So much of this is about what you were talking about, but it's also about corporate greed. Because here's the reality of it. Is that all of these companies that are laying off workers are laying them off so that their bottom line is better. Because it looks better to their shareholders or whatever it is. All these companies that we're all working for in our various ways, they absolutely could survive with paying you more and working you less. And that's a big part of the problem is we've created monsters out there that seem to own everything and have everything. And that's the other reason why people are stressed is they're working more. And, Steve and I were talking about this today. I said, I get really resentful sometimes because I feel like I look at where we are in our lives and what we earn together and where we are. And I said, we should have so much extra money. We should have so much. We should not be like, okay, got to scrape together some money to do our backyard. Like we should be able to pay for this and this and this, but we can't. And that's part of what's going on right now is, I've got side hustles. Steve's got side hustles. Like so many people are working so much just to survive. And so that's the other part of it too, is that if they made work a little bit easier for people in general and made life a little bit easier by having having childcare and, like healthcare and some of these other things that we're talking about, then you know what? I think what we will see is what we see, what is really the truth, which is women who, you'll go through a period of time where maybe you're at home and then you're going to go through a period of time and maybe you're working and that's how it is. But that's the problem is that the world has made it so difficult for anybody to survive, but especially women, because everything always falls to us. And my husband does a tremendous amount. He cooks all of our meals. He does a ton of stuff. And the reality is I still do more because I do all the emotional labor.
You do the mental load. Yeah.
I do the mental load because my son doesn't want to talk to daddy about these things. He wants to talk to mommy about these things. And I don't know when that's ever going to end, but never. Because mommy, it's always mommy. Mommy. Kids are always about mommy. And, you're always going to be the buck will always stop with you, not the dad. And that's just how it is.
Well,
down with the patriarchy.
Down with the patriarchy. Yeah, this all comes back to the patriarchy, whether we're talking about trad wives. We're talking about like, controlling religions and cults. All this, it all comes back to men controlling women. And, it's just surreal what is happening. The fact that my daughter's going to have less rights than me.
We can't let it happen. We got to fight. But we're out here I don't know. I don't know where to begin. What do we do, Brooke? How do we fight?
And what does that even mean? Who are we fighting? What do we do? Like what?
I don't know.
I know the answer is, in elections and voting, but look at how that just turned out.
Yeah.
I really expected this last election to be just this huge referendum, against what's been happening with abortion. And it really wasn't.
No.
It was very disappointing. And
oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So this is one of the things that Glennon Doyle said in that interview. And I thought this was so good, which is, and I think maybe she was reading Tia's work. I can't remember who said that, but it was all, and I'm not going to say it as eloquently as they did, but so much of these people that are kind of like, oh, I voted for Trump, but I'm really for abortion. I'm for women having rights, over their bodies, but I voted for Trump because of this reason or that reason. This idea of like, you can't pick and choose. Right. You can't decide that you're sometimes in this group and sometimes out of this group. If you're going to support this group, then you need to then you need to own all of it. And I think that's part of the problem right now is there are a lot of people out there that are like, oh, well, I voted for him for this, but I don't believe in this and this and this and this and this, all these other things that he says or does it. It's like, but if you're voting for him, but you're voting for him and you can't, do you remember her talking about this? You can't have it. You can't say, I'm going to subscribe to these things and then say, well, I'm going to pick and choose which ones I'm going to subscribe to.
Right. You can't pick and choose because it's not just abortion. It's all the stuff we were just talking about, childcare, healthcare, women's rights, being able to, get a no-fault divorce, whatever it is. And it's also not just Trump. Honestly, who was talking about this? Oh, I think it was Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, was giving a speech talking about the swing states and all these swing states that went for Trump. But then he was highlighting how in all of these swing states, even though Trump won the presidency, like all of the down ballot people and all of the down ballot measures were all Democratic wins. And which made me even more confused. Like, what is happening here? And that's the thing is that, and look at what has happened in states like, I know Minnesota was one state, like some fairly, not, and a couple of like, was it Kansas? No, I don't know. There was like a red state where on the state level, they voted to make abortion a right in their state constitution. And every single one of these abortion issues that have come up on the state level has won. So, it's the ground level, the grassroots, the states, the counties, that stuff really, really, really matters. It's not just about the big, presidential election, because that has a separate dynamic, apparently.
Yeah.
As we've seen. And there are a lot of people who, they did vote for Trump but then voted more progressively on other things.
And so you're kind of like, well,
that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because guess what happens? Because those laws that they pass in Minnesota might get challenged and it might make it all the way up to the Supreme Court. Well, guess who picks the Supreme Court? If you want to have any prayer at getting any sort of funding or anything out of Congress, you can't just have, you have to have a good majority. You have to have a lot of, it's like, you've got to get the senators and the representatives. But anyway, I'm preaching to the choir here, but,
well, and if not, they've left already.
I know.
And they're already on Apple. dumb nitwit bitches are talking about.
I can already hear it.
Oh, and, I know. We're going to get so much hate.
I wanted to bring this up. Someone said in an Apple review that they couldn't believe that we were defending Elvis marrying Priscilla at 18.
I wasn't defending it.
That it was wrong. And I don't know. And it's like, I don't think we defended that at all. We were reporting the facts about when they met, circumstances, and what happened. I mean, the facts are the facts.
Yeah.
We never said, "Oh, that's fantastic."
No, I said that I read that Elvis and Me book when I was young. Like, I want to say around Priscilla Presley's age when she met Elvis. And I said at the time it was young, but it didn't hit me the way it hits me now, being an adult, of recognizing, ugh. And I said that. So no, we're not condoning any of this. I don't know
where they got that from. But
that's so weird.
We're not defending anything that he did in that relationship at all. We were just reporting it. And you were, like you said, you didn't, obviously at 13,
I didn't get it.
You don't comprehend it fully. It's not till you're an adult that you go, oh God, that was really bad.
And guess what? I bet you anything Priscilla has gone through that work herself of like, oh, wait a second here. I was 14. What was going on here?
Yeah. Why did my parents let that happen?
Yeah. I mean,
where were the parents?
Actually, I think, they started dating at 14. And then by 16, she was like so in love and she was desperate to go and all of these other things. But again, all of that is bad. I mean, none of it is good by any means. So I'm sure she does. I'm sure that Lisa Marie Presley had some times where she thought about how weird that was. I mean, every person in that family, everybody who's witnessed it. So yeah, it's so odd. I don't know.
It's so weird sometimes what people take away.
And for whatever reason, it's interesting because I'll see some other people that have far more reviews than we do, and they're all 5 stars. I'm like, not one person ever disliked you at all. And there's a lot of people that don't like us. I mean, I guess because we talk about tough topics, but
I mean,
I don't know why people hate us so much.
So do some of this. I wouldn't say people hate us.
No, I'm sorry. That's a strong word. I don't think anyone hates us.
Those reviews always skew negative because if you are going to take the time to go on there and write this, you're because you're fired up about something, right? So, if you look at anyone who is in any way controversial has low reviews. Like I was looking at the ratings for Pivot with Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher.
Oh yeah.
And both are very provocative and say a lot of provocative things. And we have the same rating they do. So.
Okay, good.
And I was reading and their comments that people leave are vicious. I mean, ours aren't vicious. They're more just, I think, people misunderstanding us or something. But they have these vicious reviews. So again, if you're in the arena, if you're in the arena, then that's what happens. I mean, if you want to play it safe and just be nice to all the time and not, say how you feel, even if it might upset someone, then I guess you'll have a higher Apple rating.
Yeah.
Moral of the story.
Well, look at us daring greatly, out there getting all sweaty in the arena. So
that's right.
If you do enjoy us, please leave us a 5-star
rating. You know what?
If it's positive, please, we need it. We really do.
We would like to get our rating up. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, we're going to ask you a favor here today. If you're still here and you're still listening,
then you like us.
You like us. So if you can, sometime over the holidays when you're have some downtime in your home after Christmas or whatever, if you could go on to Apple, Spotify, whatever. Actually, I looked at the Spotify reviews for the first time ever, and they're pretty positive.
Oh, okay. Oh, and you know what else?
Very good. Anyway, let me
finish that part. Yeah.
Yeah. So please, wherever you listen to the podcast, if you could give us a 5-star review and leave some kind words that would make another person want to tune in to this podcast, despite having whatever the rating is. We would really appreciate that. Yes.
No, I was going to say that because we were looking at the Spotify Wrapped stuff and we were in a meeting and it was like, ooh, look at this and look at that. But what was I going to say about but it's been so nice to get, and I don't know if you've seen it on Instagram, we've been getting these messages from people where they have like their top 5 podcasts they listen to. Like, these are the 5 podcasts that you listen to the most. So some people, we were on there and they and they would send it to us, like thanking us, like, thank you so much for being part of my morning commute and all this. It's so nice.
That is so nice. I'm gonna have to go on there and look. I don't look at Instagram as much for some reason. I'm more focused on like Patreon, looking on there. But I'm going to go and look at that because that, you know what, honestly, that's the kind of stuff that keeps us going.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, sometimes I wonder, is anyone listening? Does anyone like me? I don't know.
Well, so are people just downloading the show and not listening?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they subscribed and they just quit. They never listened to it.
Yeah.
And they haven't deleted it from their queue. I don't know. So when I see something like that, it really, really like is a pick me up. So thank you, anyone who takes the time to do that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do. So yes, and please subscribe. And yes, if you want to hear more from us, please go check out our Patreon. We are on Instagram and what's that other one called? TikTok, as Psych Legal Pop. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey marketers, here's something to note. 75% of listeners don't consider podcasters to be influencers, yet 84% say a podcaster has changed their mind about something they once believed. That's the paradox of podcast influence. It's built on credibility, not clout, trust, not trends. Acast's Podcast Pulse 2025 report reveals how podcast creators are redefining influence through resonance, multi-platform fandoms, and their ability to shape culture. Get the full report free at podcastpulse2025.com.